The Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show. Here we go.
What up, thou? Live and direct is the Boss and the Sauce Show. How you feeling, Big Ragu?
Hey, man, it's the eve of Thanksgiving. Everybody's starting to get your appetites ready, get your remote control ready. There's going to be a lot of food and a lot of football coming our way. So it's always a pleasure to be with my guy, DJ Big Boss. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing excellent. I'm glad we back live for our people. We already had our guy Gilmo show up in the chat, and he also became a member. Shout out to our guy Gilmo, man. We ain't heard from him in a while, but Big Gilmo's a grandpa and some more stuff. So he's showing some love, letting us know, he's still right there. But shout out to our guy Gilmo and our guy Iggs. Of course, he shows up, say, "Let's go, we back live, baby." And then we also got our man ATNC3327 coming all the way from North Carolina, and he's 9-5 now. And the play is in, y'all. I got his play, but we'll get over that later. And of course, big happy Thanksgiving to all y'all from my man Big Ragu. Let's go down into biscuits and gravy. We just gonna jump right into it today. This is the last week of biscuits and gravy, week 14. So we decided to do this one with you guys this time. So we got some picks that we got together back there, and let me see if I can add.
This is what happens when you got to put a show out on a Wednesday, and the contest numbers come out maybe right after the show. I'm thinking possibly, but yeah, we kind of got an idea where the numbers are going to be within a half a point or so.
Absolutely, man. Anyway it goes, we gonna get it going. Anyway it goes, but I got the super contest plays right here, odds and everything right there. We're gonna go over what we already discussed in our chat. We do not have our guy Wine Time here with us today. He may show up a little later, but his picks is in. And we're waiting to finalize one more pick today. But we're gonna go through the picks we have so far. First up, I believe this is one of Wine Time's play, and this is Kansas in this Utah Kansas game. Now I ain't gonna lie, we stick by each other in here, but I'm kind of on the other side of this one. And there's some line value in that one because it's moved a little bit. It's went up to I think as much as 13. But Utah still 11.5 in the contest, so a little line value right there with Utah. But we on the other side, man. We got Kansas in this one. I'm pretty sure my man Wine. It has to do with Daniels, the quarterback over there, because the defense at Kansas is not really good, and I don't know. Utah kind of sitting in the spot right now where they got to press the gas because Texas Tech is probably for sure going to get in there, but they might be the only team from the Big 12 to get in there. But, it's a race to the finish, so it's all full speed ahead for Utah right here. But how you feel about that one, Big Ragu? Kansas, Utah?
Yeah. I lean Kansas. I kind of dropped it in the chat after you guys were I said I was going to be the tiebreaker. I know you like the other side. Wine like Kansas. And strictly, like you say, probably a little bit better value on the number, with the power ratings and what the numbers show. But there's a long way to go before the game kicks. Regardless, of this is a Friday kick too. So 12th ranked Utah, where they're sitting at 9-2, and the two losses they took. One is to Texas Tech, like you said, and the other is to BYU. So, yeah, they might be on the outside looking in. They can't afford to misstep. That being said, Kansas, had a real slow start this season. But this game's in Manhattan, a little bit different look here. Kansas does have a viable offense. They can put points up. I kind of lean over here a little bit too. I think we'll see both teams, throwing daggers down the field. And the other thing, this is going to be a pretty early start too. I think it's a 9 o'clock start your time on Friday, so it's going to be a noon kick my time. So maybe a little sleepy game here to start off slow, and then they put the afterburners on late. So, but like you said, there's no room for error for Utah here. Does it mean they have to win? No. Can they win and not cover? Yes. So, because I was the deciding factor, I guess that's the way we're going to roll, huh?
Yeah, that's the way we're gonna roll. And I seen that side of it too. When I first looked at the game, I said it's a lot of points. And I'm already kind of down on Dampier compared to how high I was on them earlier in the season. But it's just the defense part for me. Kansas has like paper thin defense, and Utah has a really dominant defense. But let's go on to the next one. We got Kansas in the first spot right here.
Yeah, I like the over a little bit in that spot too. I think it's sitting right around 60 points. 59 and a half, 60. I think it's a touchdown better to the over here, one score better. It's going to be points here. So if the total's sitting at 60, you're expecting some points here by both sides.
Well, if you like Kansas, then you gotta like the over because
that correlates for sure.
That correlates for sure. But yeah, let's move to the next one, which is Mississippi State and Ole Miss. This is a big time game. I was listening to the Beeson thing earlier, and it was like, wouldn't it be awesome if this game was on Thursday instead of Friday? I was like, that is a great fact. And as much as they try to sell media to us nowadays, why are we watching Navy and Memphis on Thanksgiving when we could be watching Mississippi versus Mississippi State? But we're looking at Mississippi State in this one. We're getting 7 in the contest. I think it might be some 7.5s out there, or I don't know. It was at one point in time it was. But we're sitting at 7 right here with Mississippi State. I mean, Mississippi State at home. This team, remember, they had like 10 returning on offense, 9 on defense, something like that. So these guys want to go out with a blast. The ones that's not going out with a blast, they may be wanting to transfer. And then there's a core of them, like we just had a down season because we lost a bunch of games by a touchdown or so. We can score. We just need to tighten up the defense. So you might have some bought into the system and decide to stay right there. So big game going down there. And I believe this one is bowl eligibility too. They can get past this one, bowl eligibility. I don't think this game will mean much for Mississippi and Kiffin, other than they don't know if he's going to be continuing on with them or going a bunch of hoopla. I try to stay away from that one. That don't really mean nothing. How the players, you can't think for a 21-year-old kid in college with $200,000 in the bank, buddy. But you can't think for those dudes. So I'm not looking at that. Fact of the matter, X's and O's. Yeah, Mississippi State has good offense, and technically Mississippi's a running team. So maybe Mississippi State can stop the run and they can open the game up for them. I like Mississippi State. You like Mississippi State right here? I thought this was a wine pick too.
Yeah, I like the over. I like the over here, which kind of bodes well for. I guess you could look at it both ways in that regard, but I still think the line favors the home team. I mean, it's going to be live there. The cowbells are going to be ringing. It's not like Lane hasn't played there before in Starksville. So, but at the same time, there's a lot of smoke. They said they're going to announce after the game whether he's going to stay or go. I mean, trust me, if he was going to stay, they would have already said he's staying. So you have that factor built in. So does he just kind of go into this game? And I mean, come on, if he's got an opportunity to play for a national championship, so that's the other thing I look at too. Like, don't you think he wants to win a natty? This guy, I mean, in my book, I would say yes. So, but money talks. And he's looking at probably 15 million reasons why. He's probably going to leave Oxford. And then hotty toddy. He's going to be having a lot of hotty toddies in New Orleans. That's for darn sure. But this particular game, with all the noise, everything going around it, I think I would lean towards the home team and the over. I know a lot of people are going to be on Mississippi, but you might get a little bit of closing line value here if you kind of wait this one out. But I think they put up 40 plus points, and I think Mississippi State puts up 30 points. So, we're talking about a number that's it's going to be close to the line, but the total I think is 2 scores over to the value on my book. So I love the over in this game. One of my best total plays.
Yeah, and that definitely correlates with Mississippi State. It's probably going to be a big time senior day down there as well with all those seniors on the team. So it's going to be rocking and rolling right there. And then we talked about it last week, not to keep going on this game, but in our chat, we talked about it about, what was it, dogs in the SEC, home dogs.
They were great. I mean, Mississippi State, I don't have all the numbers in front of me. I can go back and look pretty quick, but I know a couple weeks back they were like one of the top cover teams. They might have 2 losses ATS possibly now. At that time there was 1, but they've been playing really good football. I think I think Georgia beat them up pretty good, didn't they? Or was it Georgia or somebody beat them up? And then they came back.
Yeah, Georgia beat up Mississippi State pretty good. Yeah.
So they're probably got like, I'm gonna say they're probably like 8-1 or 9-2 or 9-2, 8-2, something like that. Pretty good.
So I just wanted to ask this question. I was hoping Weinstein was here for this one too because he's a big atmosphere guy, and so overall in the SEC, home dogs were winning, for this year. And now I want to ask you guys: do you think that contributes to the emphasis that the SEC may have put on, rowdy stadiums and let's say the stadium environment? Because if you think about it, you got Florida, big time home stadium, LSU, big time home stadium, Alabama, big time home stadium. So was it like they invested in, these great atmospheres for home stadiums long ago?
Yeah,
now it's kind of maturing.
A lot of it is there's a lot of truth to that, obviously, because we see it with our own eyes, but a lot of it's been sold and kind of the build up. Just because for years and years and years, it depends who you talk to, whether you're a Pac-12 guy, a Big Ten guy, an SEC guy. But for years, SEC football was kind of like king of the hill. I mean, things are kind of leveling off a little bit now. We're starting to get a lot more parity. And even in those days, even when you had the big time schools that would, if you weren't Alabama or let's say LSU when Saban was there, or Florida when Spurrier was there, it was very cyclical. Now, when Saban had his run for all his years, and then you always had everybody else trying to, kick the door in. You still had the great programs from the years gone by, like you were saying, with the cells that they have done, like the Swamp and the Bayou and the Tuscaloosa, and then Jordan Hare is another stadium. We'll talk about that game. I don't think we put it in biscuits and gravy, but Alabama always has a hard time when they have to play their games in Jordan Hare over in Auburn. So there's a lot of truth to those stories, with the home stadiums, and it's really tough to cover numbers on the road in the SEC. If you home dogs are a viable bet, a strong play in the SEC. We've seen it, and we see a lot of evidence that happened this year. They don't always win, but I mean it's a tough angle. It's a tough angle.
Yeah. Well, we on it in the contest with Mississippi State with the 7. Moving on, we going into Louisville. Louisville at home -3 in the contest versus a Kentucky team that I'm off the radar on Kentucky, to tell you the truth. I don't think I might have one Kentucky bet in my belt for the year, but I have played against Louisville. This seems like a good spot for Louisville. Louisville got kicked in the face for a couple weeks, and here's a spot for them to do some kicking in the face. But Kentucky ain't no rollover, and I believe Louisville is at home, I believe. So Louisville is at home. Nice spot for Louisville. Good way to close off the season with a win right here. I think they're already bowl eligible, so maybe what type of bowl or something might matter here. But Louisville -3. I like it. How about you?
Yeah, this is one of my plays. Louisville is one of my plays. What they have done lately, they started out really, really hot. Yeah, they gave a little team named James Madison their only L of the season. James Madison sitting at 10-1. Louisville was the team that took them out early, and they ran really, really, really hot. But now they hit a 3-game skid where they lost to Cal, Clemson, and SMU. Okay, and they did. I think they come back and I think they won. I think they had one win back one game ago, possibly. But now, I think got to play their rival in Kentucky. This game is in Louisville, like you said. You know, last year I think they beat Louisville. They got beat Kentucky or got beat by Louisville, if I'm not mistaken, pretty bad. So the thing here is the quarterback play for Louisville, where the kid got hurt last week, and I think he missed, and that was again. No, that's right. They did lose. SMU beat them pretty bad last week. I remember now because Mattis, what's his name? I can't remember the quarterback's name right now. But anyways, he went out, got hurt, and they got beat up pretty bad last week. But he'll be back for this particular game here. Stoops to me has been playing with house money for a little bit here, and Jeff Bromwood, he's kind of a quarterback whisperer. You know, he's one of these coaches that, you know, when his back's against the wall, you know, he's at his best. But, you know, he's a momentum type coach. And we're Kentucky, you know, they just have a hard time holding on to the football. And they have to run when they rush for 200 yards, they win games. And Louisville doesn't give up. Louisville's got the better defensive line. They've got the better linebackers. They got better special teams. You know, I'm not going to say they got all around better skill players, but for my money and what they offer, you know, I'm not going to call it a get right game because it's a game. It's the last game of the season, but this is a game where it's a very winnable game for them at home. And if Kentucky plays like they do of late, I think they've turned over the ball like 18 times in the last 3 or 4 games. So they've been a turnover machine. So if they turn the ball over here, Louisville will definitely take advantage of the turnover ratio. But I think they'll be okay. I think last year they started a true freshman in this game, and he's back. I think he threw for like 47 yards. He was like a red shirt. Same quarterback that they have now, Kentucky. He stepped up a little bit, you know, so his game has gotten a lot better. So he's got a little revenge on his mind, but I think Louisville's the right side here at home.
I like it. Now, the next game, I'm trying to find the line on here on Arkansas. Is that one of yours too?
Yeah, Arkansas. Arkansas is one of mine. Yep. Let me flip the page here because that's down the board a little bit. 408. It's Arkansas. It's like they're getting 2.5. 2.5 and 55 is what I got for the last number I checked today. This. What's your opinion of this game?
I'm trying to get the line on this one. I'm not really on this game. I know,
okay.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Taylor Green in this one, and he's going to be up against a pretty solid defense in this one, and that's why I kind of look past the game. But you know,
here's the thing with this game: you got both quarterbacks. Missouri was running hot, and then they had they had the game with Vandy, I think. So they've lost like 3 out of 4. The last game, I think they come out a little bit. No, they lost that last game too because I remember they were trying to score late and they had like a last minute drive. But anyways, the quarterback they had, Perdue, who's from Penn State, he was hurt, so he's back playing. He got nicked up a little bit supposedly, and like you said, Green was another one. He left in the third quarter in that last game last week against Texas. He got nicked up. But here's the thing about Arkansas, right? So they fired a coach early in the season. I say early, you know, mid-season.
Right.
And Petrino takes over. Second time for Petrino. And when Pittman left, this team has lost like 9 games in a row, okay? But if you go back and look on those games, at 6 of those 9 games, they've lost by less than a one-score game. Some of them 1 point, 2 point, 3 point games against, you know, pretty good SEC competition. So they've had some tough luck, but, you know, they were a very viable offense. They put points up in those games. Like they lost a 3-point game to Texas A&M. You know what I mean? They lost like a 1-point game to Missouri, or not Missouri. Anyways, I go back, I look at the scoreboards, and I can break down all the games for you on the scores, but all they do is they lose games by like 1 score. There's like one or two. I think Notre Dame took them to the woodshed early on, and then there was like one other game that they lost last week when Green went down. Texas beat them up pretty good. So outside of those 2 games, they've been in every game outside of 2 wins. So it's a team that can compete. And this strictly looks like the market agrees because this number opened up at, I think it was at 4, and it's sitting at 2.5 right now. So I like the spot here for them. You know, they are playing these games in Little Rock and Missouri. Like I say, Missouri's reeling. Both of these teams have lost a bunch of games. Not as many as Missouri. Missouri, like I say, lost the last 3 out of 4. But you know, their season's starting to go a little bit sideways, and there's been talk about Drinkwitz possibly going. They haven't said he's staying, so you know you got that factor. So both of these teams might have new coaches next year. So I think Petrino's going to leave everything on the field and take care of business. And Missouri, they're just they're bowl eligible, obviously. So and they're ranked. So they'll be playing like late in December sometime. But this is going to be Arkansas's last game of the season here, guys. So they're going to put everything on the field. I like it. I think they can take. I think they win outright.
Yeah, well, quiet as kept. They had Petrino already in the mix and kind of knew this was going to happen. So it's just kind of moving on to territories that they wanted to go to anyway. But I don't really care for coaches returning to the same schools. I don't really care for them taking coaches just because they were ex-players or because I think that they should move towards the newer coaches. If you look at some of these newer coaches like like Dillingham and some of the other ones out there, they have a much, I think, better chance at success starting from their level. Look at my guy Brent from San Jose that's over there in Arizona. I think even though he's an older guy, but he's newer to the bigger stage. But look at the kind of product that they're able to put on the field like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of like.
You see it happening again with West Virginia and Rich Rodriguez. They brought him back after they got rid of Neil Brown last year. I mean, they're shitting all over themselves, and I kind of like them this week, by the way.
It's almost like it never works. But let's move on to the next game, which is Georgia Tech, Georgia. One of my games. I know my man Jimmy out there in the barn, and my man Avery said, I think there's some drinking going on in the barn, and they probably in Georgia.
There might be more drinking depending on what you say.
Yeah, well, I mean, we already know. I mean, last week we kind of missed with our guy Brent Key over at Georgia Tech, and it was a typical spot where he kind of regresses 50-50 games, games that they favored in. But this is what he does right here. I mean, he's 4-0 at this underdog spot right here. He's playing Georgia, who they went into multiple overtimes with last year, so that kind of shows me that he knows a little bit about what Georgia has the capability of doing. And this team this year is not even as tough as the team from last year. So I think Brent Key, I wouldn't take it if I didn't think he could win, but I wouldn't just lay on the fact that he could win right here. But he's definitely going to cover because that's what he does. And more than likely, he'll probably go under because the way that he does it is he slows the game down. He knows how to really coach any type of team, the Bad News Bears or whatever. He can, in these big games, he can coach them in position for some odd reason. I don't know, but I think he does well. This is a great bounce back game for Haynes King too, because he kind of shit the bed last week, and I don't know, maybe he was ill or I don't know. He just really seemed not himself last week, and it seemed like he was throwing the ball at a weird angle. It was just a lot going on, and he's a senior right here. Last little senior game right here. I think he got to kind of leave it all on the field. I mean, the best he got coming is maybe a trip to the combine and maybe a couple shots at a couple teams. But I don't think he's going high in the draft or nothing crazy like that. So Haynes King's a great playmaker. He's been around for a long time. He's made us a lot of money. I can't walk away from 14 with Georgia Tech.
He's got a real good offensive line in front of him too.
Yeah. So
that's what makes
I don't know what happened last week. Last week it was just weird.
Well,
Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh was playing coy a little bit with that Notre Dame game, But like I said, I didn't believe Narduzzi. I really didn't. The week before, I'm like, this guy's full of shit. He's just using that for reverse psychology for this game. But Notre Dame went out there and did what they had to do. And maybe he's already had 2 weeks to prepare for the way they played against Notre Dame. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game when they beat Georgia Tech. So, but this, like you said, it's a different setup for him. When Key's a double-digit dog, he's very, very dangerous where he is here. When he's a favorite, and then they were pretty good favorite in that game too, and they nowhere near close to getting the job done there. But this is a little bit different. I show stream value on Georgia Tech, even though I didn't submit it. But the thing about Georgia, they're good. They've been covering numbers too, more so this year than last year, with a younger and a less depth team. You know, that's the thing with Georgia. They're not as deep as they've been in the rotation now. But you know, a lot of youngsters. You know, next year they'll be better than they are this year, probably. But this is a good spot for Georgia Tech. And my buddy Jimmy Vegas, he'll be the first to tell you, I'll bet against Georgia like certain games, and I can almost feel that he's going to take Georgia Tech in this spot.
I like it. It's another Georgia team, so he probably doesn't have a problem with
Yeah.
that. Big shout out to our guy, Big Show, man. Ain't seen you in a while, but I miss you, my brother. Would love to hang
There
out
is
with you.
Show.
But Big Show, he says, so sorry, not the biggest NCAA better, but like y'all. But yeah, we appreciate that. I already know what's up, Big Show.
Yeah, we have fun, Big Show. Just like
mutual
you,
love and respect right there. But yeah, let's go into the last one too, which is the Washington and Oregon game. Now, I don't know. This looked like it's sometimes things happen for a reason, anyways. But this looked like a spot that Oregon will probably really be very aggressive in, and the line is so low at 6.5. And I don't really. I mean, I know what Fish does, but I don't really believe in this particular team at Washington, especially being that you know, the Pac-12 was going to be coming back, and they probably going to be a part of that, and a whole bunch of other factors. But a lot of people, not just us here, are on Washington. A lot of people on Washington for whatever reason. It might be beyond me, but it's a game that I'm a pass. I'm not going to hold my Oregon flag in the air, but I do think like Oregon really needs a big win right here. I mean, Ohio State is like a shoe-in. They have a loss. I mean, a impressive win right now in this spot would do them a lot of good going forward. And this is another factor I thought about, Big Ragu. And this is just moving along with the times. So last year we had a 12-man playoff, and we learned something from that, right? And what we learned is, I mean, it's tough to play an additional 3 and 4 games outside of a regular season in college football. It's like one of the first times that was done. I mean, and that is a lot. I mean, like from baseball to football, like how you go about the playoffs, it gets tricky in all kinds of sports because you can be the best team, but you could be out of wind. You could be the travel. It's just so many elements to those teams continuing on. Because like last year, we shouldn't have really got, even though they had an awesome team and they deserve it, Arizona State. Arizona State shouldn't have made it as many games as they did. But it's kind of like at certain points, if the fire is still lit and they moving forward, they have to. My point is, some of these teams that played in the playoffs last year, like Oregon, gotta know you gotta start dominating going into the playoffs now, opposed to trying to react later on down the line because you can run out of gas.
Yeah.
True or false, Big Ragu?
That's true. I mean, style points matter. You know, even you say, okay, they expanded from 4 to 12 or, you know, however many we got now with 4 teams getting a bye and 8 playing the first round. But the seeding is going to be important, obviously, too. But, you know, when you get the bubble teams, like I heard us guys talking on the radio today, they're talking about Notre Dame and Miami, you know, what team this, strength of schedule, style points, you know, all this stuff. But as of right now, it looks like Notre Dame would be in and Miami would be out. So there's a lot of people unhappy about it. And then I say, you know what? It's the ACC. Notre Dame's an independent. And I'm a big Notre Dame fan this year. I love what their offense is doing. Yeah, okay. They might have beat up on some of the others, but you know what? They're out there every week doing it. So, and in this game, you know, all it takes is one major hiccup, you know, then you're out, like you were saying, you know. So, but they've been doing it week in, week out. So, you know, respect to them. Where Miami's been a little bit more inconsistent, you know, and maybe the strength of schedule type thing, possibly. Who the heck knows? But you always got to put your best foot forward. And I agree with you with the Oregon spot here. I think they're going to want to make a little bit of noise. Even so, the market's going against them. Their game is in Washington, right? So that's a big plus for the Huskies. So.
Look what we got in the chat, Big Magoo. This is a confirmation. Jimmy Vegas is
Yeah, I
on
knew it.
Georgia Tech.
I knew it. I knew it. I had that gut feeling, man. I had a feeling.
No,
That's why
no
Jimmy.
record for it.
That's why they call him Jimmy Vegas, because he's not Jimmy. He's not Jimmy Georgia. He's Jimmy Vegas because he's getting to the window. That's why.
That's right. And back to that Georgia game. That's another thing that's kind of deadly about Georgia in that game. They gotta know that if they want to turn the corner into the playoffs, they gotta gain some speed and momentum. So they could go after Georgia Tech. They probably a little, even though they won last year, they probably kind of mad that they had to fight so tough. But it's gonna be an exciting game. Shout out to our guys in the barnyard. But on that last game, yes, we are taking Washington in that one.
Yeah, we're in Washington. Yep.
We got Washington plus 6.5. Let's hope our guy Jed Fish come out and do it. That's what we got so far for the contest right here. We got Kansas plus 13, Mississippi State plus 7, Louisville -3, Arkansas -3. Arkansas plus 3,
Yeah.
Georgia Tech plus 14, and Washington plus 6.5. Now we got a bunch of games left. What we could add, let's go through this part while we at this show. What we could add as our last picks in Biscuits and Gravy is a pick from one of our very own. If I could find it, I think this is it. It's a pick from one of our very own right here, and maybe, I don't know, it's kind of, maybe we can use this one as a, we'll put this in one spot for what we're going to choose for the last leg of our Biscuits and Gravy.
Oh, come on! Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot to lay in
That's
the
a lot of
contest
wood there,
right
man.
But
you know what? I got to trust him a little bit. You know why? Because that's his original stomping grounds, man. He's from Indiana. He's been to the 500 a bunch of times. He always curses out Purdue in basketball. So yeah, this guy knows. This guy knows a little bit about the state of Indiana and Indiana football, I would presume. So I guess that one, yeah, that one's a chip off the old block for him. So I don't have a problem using Mr. Signetti's team in the contest. Just as good, if not better, coming from our guy AT.
Well, I could say that Purdue, who I had a lot of faith in earlier in the season, because our guy from Vegas, the coach from Vegas, is over there. I mean, from UNLV. But they kind of middle of the season, they kind of fell off the train, and they've been kind of getting thrashed lately. And this Indiana team ain't no joke. And we just talked about style points. We just talked about momentum going into the playoffs, and Signetti, he needs to know all that. And you know, for those that don't know, Signetti is a Saban product. So the dominance, the persistence, and the things that he do kind of shows from the cloth that he's cut from. So I don't know. It could be a really good spot for that one. But let's talk about a couple other ones. We talked about it a little bit in the chat, but I was thinking good old Arkansas State, who we know, I mean, they did kind of let us down in the heat of the moment when we kind of like finally realized what was going on. I wish we could have been on them a lot earlier in the season. But, another team with a lot of one-game victories. I think they're at home this week, right?
No, they're on the road. That game's away.
Oh, it's away. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in Appalachian State, but they're getting 2.5. Only thing that I don't like about the game is I'm not sure how many times Arkansas State has played up there. We all know Appalachian State is at a high altitude where it takes. My little cousin say it take but he was just at Wyoming, and he said, man, it take like 4 hours before your body adapts to the altitude when you get up there.
Well, don't forget they got the Ozarks in Arkansas too, right? So they might be probably not as tall of a mountain, but I imagine there's some mountain areas up in Arkansas where maybe some of these kids played ball when they were younger. Possibly, who the heck knows, man?
And Appalachian State is bad this year. Like they are bad,
Yeah.
worse than they really fell off of the wagon as
Yeah,
well.
Boone, North Carolina.
So I like that spot in chat. You know, if you got some opinion or something, let us know in the chat because we trying to really figure out this last one, and we trying to figure it out with y'all. So I like that spot right there.
Yeah.
Other spots that I looked at that I really like. Where is it? I was Vandy and Tennessee. Give me a couple more points with Vandy, and I might be ready to take. Oh, but what about this Michigan Ohio State game? I mean, hopping in the smoke right here. I think Ohio State, like I said, here we go again. Teams that have been in the playoff that know they need the momentum to win the championship. And as much as they've been getting screwed over by Michigan, they finally caught Michigan with their hands up their ass with a freshman quarterback. I mean, that Ohio State defense should really wreak havoc to what they got going on the offense over there. Even though the Michigan defense is good, I think they're well gelled. Like at the beginning of the season, we played this game, I would be suspect. But this late in the season, they know what to do on offense. They got a couple players that suspect if they're going to be playing or not. What is it? Smith at receiver is a they don't know. But if you get those guys, plus if not, I'm pretty sure Ryan Day has 5 more guys lined up to try to take their place. But I gotta think that these guys want to get in there and play because you got Heisman coming up, you got additional transfers, you got the draft, you got a whole bunch of reasons why not to be sitting on your hands in this game right here. And I think Ohio State is a buy low spot right here. It's the second time I said that on the show. Last time I said it, it hit. I usually say that and curse myself, but really with Ohio State, I think people are just so caught into the rivalry in this right here. They don't really see the X's and O's, and this one really don't line up to me. What do you think about that one, Big Red?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's kind of I'd say a reboot year for Michigan this year.
Yeah,
You know, with the freshman quarterback that's got some road experience now. You know, we faded him a few times on the road in Big House. You know, the fans are going to be loud up there. We get that part, and it's always tough to win up in the Big House up in Michigan. But Ohio State's defense is really, really special, guys. They're really, really good. They're probably, in my book, they're the best in FBS right now, and I think they're gonna bring it often and early in this game. And it's going to be the turnover margin that's probably going to really put the game over the number if you're going to back Ohio State. And the wide receiver room is good, and then the quarterback Sylvan, he's having a banner year. He quietly started out. Now he's drawing all the attention, Heisman candidate. So, as we get deeper into the season, all the stars are starting to come out for this team. They've been there. They're just, quietly, and then Ohio State just keeps doing what Ohio State's been doing all year long. Kind of like A&M, same thing. So, yeah, it had to be Ohio State or pass for me here, even though it's in up in Michigan. So that doesn't bother me as much. If it was in Ohio State, it'd probably be like 14, 14 and a half, 15 points the other way.
Okay, I got 2 more for you, Big Ragu. 2 more that I was thinking about on the list. So this Baylor-Houston game is also seems like a buy low spot for Baylor in the season where they were predicted to be like top notch, but didn't kind of work out that way. Yeah. But this is a good way to end the season with a nice win against a Houston team, which is sort of like a interstate rival for them, right? Oh, I got our man Dabby Cabby.
Well, Houston's ranked. Houston's ranked.
They're ranked. They're ranked, but they're not true to this. They just kind of new to this and having a good season with the coach over there. But in this spot right here, Baylor, another team that brought back a whole bunch of players last year. This is the last game on home turf right here, playing against a Houston team who I kind of prefer if the game was at Houston because Houston don't protect the house. But them going into Waco could be different. But I mean, coming from Houston to Waco, you talk about night and day in places where you at. So I think Baylor got a shot, and it's another spot on here where we could get Baylor at like -2.5.
Yeah, they played a lot of close games, lost a lot of close games. They were terrible at cover numbers. I think they had like 2 cover spots the whole season. So, and we've been on them a lot. You know, they owe us some fucking money. They really do. But they kind of screwed us over a few times. Not that I left the sour taste in them out, because the games they've been in, it's not like they got blown out in most of those games. They were like 1-score games, kind of like Arkansas was doing. Same type of thing. In conference games, close games, Big 12 games. So, yeah, very viable squad. Probably I would say Houston stepping up in class in going from the American over to the Big 12 here. In this particular moving on over. So yeah, like you said, it's new hat for these guys. So I don't hate the spot. I really don't. I wouldn't mind. It's less than a field goal home. Why not? They've been playing close games all season. Why stop now? Let's get some money back on Baylor.
I like Baylor.
What's the other game you like? Or
last one right here. This is the last one I like. It's the Wisconsin and Minnesota game, right?
Yeah, that's the Paul Bunyan game, the Axe game.
The Axe game. Paul Bunyan, Wisconsin minus 1 point in this one. Now, we talked a lot last week about Wisconsin and how the team is gelling around Fickle moving forward. Yeah. And they came out last week, and I believe they lost, right?
Yeah.
They didn't finish the job, but they played hard. They were in the game in a lot of spots, and they tried to complete the game. Now, if he has these guys ready right here, I think this might be a spot that we can get some rebate money on Wisconsin with this one too. Or we could just look silly taking them in this spot, and the most well-dressed college football coach in Flick will win again. But I don't know. Flick is kind of hard to, especially in these short line games like this. This is kind of where he kind of, I don't know. Maybe Minnesota's might be the right spot, but I'm just saying, we talked about Wisconsin being motivated last week, and they didn't get there. Are they extra motivated this week?
I think so. I think it's a good spot for Wisconsin. I mean, the number is really, really tight, so it's basically a pick'em game, and they have momentum going their way. Even though, like you said, they didn't win the game, but the vote of confidence they got for bringing Fickle back. I think it was and they went ahead and they guaranteed some NIL money, so that was brought up in discussion too. So I guess now, where he was kind of given to what he's gotten, they expect him to win with put the product that they had prior on the field without spending any money, and that's what he's been doing. So now to compete, they said, hey, we're going to give you some money, go out and get some kids. So they're gonna be probably getting some 3- and 4-star players next year. Where I'm not saying that they don't have those type players now, but they'll be able to bring them in and go out and get some kids. So I think they'll build on that. And then every game from that point on is more of a motivational thing. And then the kids that are underclassmen, they want to probably stick around. So yeah, they're probably playing. Like you said, they're playing for the coach right now. So not that. And at one time, it was up until 3 weeks ago, he was on. His seat was very, very hot. Talking about getting rid of him too, but. Like him, Norvell, another guy that I love a lot, right? He's sticking around too for 58 million reasons. They want to get rid of him. So that's what happens. So it's either feast or famine with these teams. But right now, I think Wisconsin is in a better spot than they were, 4 or 5 weeks ago.
So what you think, Big Red Good? We went over quite a few games for this last spot right here, and I don't know.
I got one spot I want to give you now.
Go for it.
Okay, so we talked about the Big 12. The top of the leaderboard in the Big 12, which is Texas Tech, and then tied with them is the one team that gave BYU their one loss, Texas Tech. That's who BYU lost to. So BYU is going to play little old West Virginia in Morgantown, West Virginia, up in the foothills up there. It's going to be cold Saturday. It's going to be like in the 30s. Now, I don't expect Texas Tech to lose this particular game, but, if they want to create a little bit of havoc, if you look at what West Virginia's done the last 3 games, they won 2 of them, and they have a pretty their defense has been pretty good. We know that Texas Tech has the number 1 run defense in the country right now. You're getting less than 3 yards a carry against this team. Texas and West Virginia's running game is very suspect. Matter of fact, they lost their running back last week, so they're gonna. But their run defense has been really good. They've given up like the last 3 games, like about 83 yards, and they put and 2 wins in conference. And they had the L last week, but the quarterback, he's playing again. Like I said, the running back room is a little difficult right now, so I don't think they're going to put up a shit ton of points either way. But I think it's a really solid underplay, and they're catching a ton of points. So, do I think they get blown out by the 25, 20, 28, whatever the number is? I don't like to back a team unless I know they got a shot to win the game. I don't think they really have a shot to beat Texas Tech in Morgantown, but I think it's going to be difficult because it's going to be a noon start and it's going to be cold. Maybe them Texas Plain kids that plays in the plains in Texas, they ain't used to that little mountain area at 35, 30-degree weather up in the Northeast, up in Appalachian mountains over there. But I don't know, just a little possible look there. But the game I really like the best on the outlier games, if you look at BYU, they gotta go out and play some football this week, and they're playing UCF. The UCF outside of Orlando is one of the worst teams in college football. BYU, they want to catch lightning in a bottle because they want a little bit of havoc to happen. They're going to probably they went out. They're going to play Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship. So this is going to be a momentum game for BYU. You're laying like 17 and a half points. I think they dog walked the shit out of UCF. They're just UCF outside of Orlando. They're horrible. Here's another. We talked about these coaches coming back to the team that they coach. They brought Scott Frost back down there. It's all crickets down there. Even though bounce house, I get all that stuff too. But he ain't gonna be around long. Trust me. He's gonna be gone. Rodriguez is gonna be gone. Petrino's gonna be gone. All them retreads are gonna be gone. This could be the icing on the cake. They might beat them by 40 in this game. So I think 17 and a half, I'm not afraid to lay with BYU. I think this is going to be a statement game for them. All Shiitake has done is won 21 games and 3 losses the last 2 years as head coach for BYU. So this is a game where they're gonna stretch their legs and get ready for what do you call it, Tech in the Big 12.
Yeah, when I initially looked at the card, and I've been a BYU advocate quite a few times on this biscuits and gravy period, but I said, yeah, the UCF, they could definitely get those points up on them. I mean, the travel, the environment, there's so many pluses in the BYU. And BYU, as much as people hate them or whatever they feel about them, because they've been trying to kick them in the face for the last 3-4 weeks.
That game will be in altitude too, right? That game's up in Provo. It's pretty high.
Yeah, Provo, yeah. Yeah, so and those kids coming from Florida to Provo, like you said, it's gonna be shocking right there. So initially I was like, yeah, they could cover, but I don't know. It was one of those games where it was 17 and a half for a while, and the hook is like, why are you getting me?
I ain't worried about that hook.
Yeah, you can't be worried about it. You got to be looking 20, 25 or better.
That's what they're trying to push you away with, that 17 and a half. That's what because they should have made it really 21 and a half or better, I think. But
yeah, see,
I think they went by 3 scores.
I like that one too, but I don't know if I had to take a pick out of all the picks that we went over. I think I might go back to our guy NC33 pick.
Yeah, Indiana, heck yeah. Put the 29. Start chopping that wood, baby. Start chopping that wood.
Yeah, let's start chopping the wood because I mean it fits in the category, like I was saying, teams that went to the playoffs last year that's turning the corner. Everybody knows Signetti has no problem running the scoreboard up on anybody. He tried to score 80 or something one game, but yeah, we got that in our pocket. So I think we're gonna add our guy NC33 to the mix this week because he is 9-5 on this show for the season. So he's doing well. He came up last week with another win. So this is gonna be 10-5 for him for the season, which would be awesome. So we got to take his pick right here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the last pick right there. Let me go ahead and pencil that in. That's Indiana, and they're getting in the contest. They're minus 28.5. So
if he comes in at 10-5, that's a cool 67% winner.
Yes. So that's it right here. Here are the biscuits and gravy pick for the week right here. Kansas plus 13, Mississippi State plus 7, Louisville minus 3, Arkansas plus 3, Georgia Tech plus 14, Washington plus 6.5, Indiana plus 28.5. And I really don't have much picks, but I will be putting some picks out. I see my man Big Ragu got some picks on Twitter/X already. So y'all go make sure y'all follow our guy Big Ragu 62 over
I
there.
forgot about them picks. Let me go back and revisit that. Let's see what the heck I put out there. Did I put something on Twitter already this week?
You had something on Twitter earlier this week.
Did I? Oh,
I think it was yesterday or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a fast moving week because of the holidays.
Oh yeah. Here it is. Let me read them out.
Go for it.
I'm contradicting ourselves on one of the You know why? Because it's early, and then we talk shit out, and that's the way it works. But I kind of lean that way. But anyways, I got Mississippi State plus 7. I got A&M on the money line. I got over. This is another over game, big over game. Vandy, Tennessee, over the total. TCU minus 3.5. And quack comes the Ducks minus 6.5.
The Ducks minus 6.
I got the duck on the screen. See him going like.
Yeah, there you go. Go put the Ducks in, y'all. Big Ragu told you to do so. Yeah, I knew it seemed really low for a team that really back us against the wall. That's another team that falls in that category too. A team that's trying to get that momentum going.
I think they're a top 4 team. I really do.
Yeah.
I put them in before I put Texas Tech in. How's that?
That's right. I like that. But me, I don't have much else. I don't have much else going on. I only have 2 bets in for the week so far, and that is Georgia Tech plus 14. And like I said, I'm on the other side of us, which is Utah minus 11. So I'm taking that Utah and those 2 so far, and I'll put those up for you guys to see sometime tomorrow, maybe early in the morning. Big happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Yeah, definitely be thankful. Definitely spend time with family and friends and loved ones in these points, because that's what it's all about. Anything you want to say, Big Ragu, before I do I got to get my instrumental ready for my outro.
Yeah, no, I want to thank everybody. Week in, week out. We love you guys out in the chat. A lot of you guys know us personally. We've kind of hung out and done things over the years, but a lot to be thankful for. You guys are part of that reason, and we just love what we do. We just hang out with our guys and talk shop and make some money and share love and happiness. And we love what we do, and we love hanging out with you guys. So we're thankful for that.
Thank you. And to send us off. Well, it's my turn again. I led the show last week. We didn't do too bad last week, so let's hope we do better this week. But definitely, man, be thankful, man. One of the biggest lessons I learned this year was just being thankful for the small stuff. If your job only pay you $19.75, just be happy for that at some point in time, because there's always room for enhancement. But you got to be thankful for the points that you made it to, because you could be making $4 an hour, or you could be unemployed. But be thankful, man. And I'm so thankful to have the friends that I have online, sports betting. It's like a whole nother division of friends and family and life to have you guys. And I'm so thankful for all of my Who-Bangin family, all of my family over there at PSR, all of my good friends that I've worked with in the past that's in the sports betting industry. Trust me, you guys left plenty of footprints on my life. So just be thankful, enjoy your families, and cash some tickets, y'all. And we out of here.
Hit the window.
The Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show. Here we go.